of it obviously will be how the World Cup goes. I think having 3 teams that have been ultra competitive has been a good thing this year. Overall,
I think we need to find some way of getting Huddersfield to elevate some of their young talent into senior talent, and I think they also need to find a way of getting some forwards into that Huddersfield squad rather than letting Shona Hoyle go to St Helens mid-season with the way the transfers rules or whatever allow. I don't know, but that seemed like a mistake from a league perspective, but not from St Helens perspective.
No.
Warrington coming up into that division, they beat Castleford 52-6 in the Group 2 game that you're going to give the scores for in a minute. They're going to be brought up, aren't they? So there's going to be a 6 team top division next year, and I think Wigan should be better, and so I think it'll be even better next year. But I don't think the concentration of talent has been a huge issue because we've managed to get more intense games.
Yeah, the games that I've seen this year, the quality has been, between the top 3 particularly, the games have been very good tests, I would say. So I'm hoping that.
But amateur athletes have been fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that will have a positive impact in terms of their performance overall from an international point of view. But yeah, I still don't agree with the concentration of talent. I will not agree with that as a concept, I'm afraid. But we'll see. We'll see if it bears fruit. As you said, Group 2, it finished Castleford 6, Warrington 52. Lee Miners 12, Bradford 24, and Wakefield 4, Featherstone 68.
The Woman of Steel shortlist was released this year. A 6-name shortlist for the award this year, with 2 previous winners on that list. So Leeds halfback Georgia Roach, she won back in 2018 when she was at Cass. She's on there with Jodie Cunningham, who won last year, St Helens captain. Amy Hardcastle, the powerhouse centre, she's on the shortlist as well. Then 3 York players, Holly Dodd, Sinead Peach and Tora Jane Stanley. They're all from the league leaders. York, they're all in the run-in. But it seemed like the consensus was pretty much universal that Tora Stanley should be winning the award this year.
I couldn't disagree with that. She's been an absolute class player when I've seen York play this year.
Yeah, she was the standout star player of the women's nines, which York also won. In that competition that started up this year, so as well as her performances for York in the Super League, and her goal kicking's fantastic. She's going to be a threat for England in the World Cup. You hope she's one of our stronger performers there. I think she's the winner for me.
Yeah. Championship. It was the penultimate round of the Championship, round 26. It finished Sheffield 18, Featherstone 30, Newcastle 18, York 24, Workington 6, Wathaven 28, Barrow 44, Dewsbury 28, Batley 40, Bradford 12, London Broncos 6, Leigh 58, and Widnes 4, Halifax 32 on Monday night.
So Featherstone and York limping towards the playoffs still, aren't they, a little bit, whereas the other sides had dominant wins. Pop the Viking said Widnes had far more possession in attack in the first 40 than Halifax, but couldn't convert the pressure into points. Widnes lacked that cutting edge and were their own worst enemies at times. One more game to go and we can put this season behind us and build for 2023. So in the standings at this stage, like you say, there's 1 round left. Leigh have 50 points, Featherstone have 45 points, and Halifax have 40 points. So they are the top 3. Batley have 36, Barrow have 35, and York have 34. So those bottom 3 playoff spots are yet to be settled, and we don't need to talk about anyone else because no one else is relevant anymore.
Indeed, unfortunately.
And then in terms of news, we talked about the Workington news, so won't mention that again, but France World Cup hopeful Hakimi Aludi, he's leaving Barrow at the end of the season to go back to France, which is a big blow for them because he's been an exciting player for them this year, although he has only scored 9 tries in 26 appearances for the Raiders, so maybe not quite as good as the press on him. I think he's set up a lot, hasn't he, let's be fair. And York have announced that forward Jordan Thompson has signed a new 3-year deal, keeping him at the LNER Community Stadium until the end of 2025.
Yeah, that's a good signing. He's been excellent for them when I've seen him. It was the last round in League One, round 22. It finished North Wales 12, Swinton 38, the Midlands 42, Cornwall 26. Crucial match, this one, Oldham 30, Hunslet 18, Rochdale 24, Keighley 56, and Doncaster 70, London Scholars 22.
Yeah, it all means, which we already knew, Keighley finished top. They finished on 40 points, though, with a 100% record over the whole season, so well done to the Cougars. Swinton are second on 32, North Wales and Doncaster have 30 points, Rochdale have 26 points, and Oldham sneak into the last playoff spot on points difference ahead of Hunslet. Both end on 17 competition points, but Oldham won that crunch game, like you say. Midlands finish 8th, Scholars finish 9th, Cornwall 10th, and West Wales 11th.
It was a couple of matches also in the Wheelchair Super League. It finished Wigan 50, Leeds 76. I literally saw the last 10 seconds of that. And London Roosters 42, Halifax 54.
Yeah, this has meant Leeds have won the league leaders in the wheelchair competition, and now those four sides will play off. So Leeds will play the Roosters. You'd expect Leeds to win that in a couple of weeks' time. Halifax host Wigan, and that one will be a bit more interesting. I watched quite a bit of this game, most of the second half, the Wigan-Leeds game, and Leeds just had a bit more cutting edge, didn't they? I think Wigan probably could have brought the young, I can't even remember his name now, but the young brother of the other guy. They've got like two sets of families, haven't they, in the Wigan team? And there's the Roberts and there's the other one, and I can't remember the name of the other one now off the top of my head. But anyway, they brought the young lad on too late, I think, because he was really good when he came on in the second half. But Leeds just had too much cutting edge, I think, too much speed as well. So that, unless Halifax can get Jack Brown back over for the playoffs ahead of the World Cup, I think Leeds go into that strong favourites now.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's NRL round 25. We got a sad last instance of NRL review.
I think we might see NRL review for the grand final or something, but yeah, the last regular season round down under.
We'll see. So it finished Eels 22, Melbourne 14.
NRL review says there was a bunch of dry seats in the house as the mist burned off and those pesky snakes slithered to victory. Moses parted the purple sea.
It finished Bulldogs 21, Seagulls 20.
This game from the Flappers was like their season. After a promising start, they stalled mid-air and plummeted. The Puppies were just meh, but led, and the Flappers let the Dogs out of trouble. Leave him alone. Jack Burton slotted the field goal to win it. The Sea Eagles season has absolutely collapsed once they all decided that religion means you can't tolerate people.
Well, I think God's definitely had his say there.
Yeah.
Don't mess with the football gods; they will punish you. It finished Roosters 26, Rabbitohs 16.
This game wasn't meant to mean anything, with it almost guaranteed they would meet again next week in the finals. But the Cocks looked like they wanted to slap them across the face, and the Hoppers ready to bounce into action. In the end, a sin bin for Latrine Mitchell was the best thing to stop him doing something suspendable. Glory hole, glory hole.
It was Warriors 26, Titans 27.
The Concern took advantage of some flimsy defence and took an early lead with no worries. Then the whole game turned as the Lucerne tightened up and stormed back into it. The Concern fans looked worried, and they should have been. Lucerne's won with a field goal in Golden Point.
Dragons 22, Broncos 12.
The equation was simple for the Ponies. They needed to gallop to victory, and a large enough victory to put pressure on the Lime Factory for 8th spot. No one told the mothers-in-law. Ben Mike Hunt stood up and they breathed fire one last time. The Ponies are off to the glue factory.
It was Cowboys 38, Panthers 8.
The Black Pussies rested almost their entire first choice team as the result didn't matter for them. The reverse Cowgirls spun on them like a lazy Susan, and Casanova Villas was awesome. For the Black Pussies, the cream didn't rise to the top.
Knights 16, Sharks 38.
Although they put up a good show early, it was lights out for the Daywalkers as night descended. Aldi Poundstore Heath Ledger was off his game, but it didn't stop the blood in the water for Shark Week.
And last one, West Tigers 10, Raiders 56.
The Lime Factory didn't look like they got out of second gear and led 42-0 at half. The Factory slipped a cog in the second half, but it was all too much for the Ginger Pussies after a disappointing year. The Ginger Pussies need to shave some superfluous fluff in the off-season. Thank you and goodbye from NRL Review. And in the standings, that means that the Panthers, or the Black Pussies, the Sharks, or Shark Week, the Cowboys, or Reverse Cowgirls, and Eels, or Snakes, finish in the top 4 and earn a second chance in the playoffs. The Panthers host the Eels, and the Sharks host the Cowboys in week 1 of the finals, with the chance of earning that week off. 5th place Storm will host the Raiders next week. The Roosters and Rabbitohs will repeat their round 25 fixture in the playoffs. And just to confirm, the West Tigers, or the Ginger Pussies, picked up the wooden spoon this year. And in news, I suppose I'll change this news story now, because it was Adam O'Brien was basically saying Dom Young's been picked for England, but no one else had confirmed it. But Dom Young has basically apparently confirmed as well now that the chance to play for England in the home World Cup he's decided was too good an opportunity and better than playing for his grandparents' country Jamaica alongside his brother Alex, who plays for Workington. So this is, I think, pretty big, because he's been a consistent performer in the NRL, it feels like, this year. I've not watched a lot of his games, but I've heard a lot of praise for him, and he's been a try scorer and stuff a lot. So it looks like Dom Young will be playing for England in the World Cup, Alan. Big news.
It's certainly, as you said, I haven't certainly not seen him very much this year either. However, a bit more kind of depth and a bit more kind of options is no bad thing.
Well, I think he's the starting left winger, and you put Makinson on your right wing, and that's your wingers. Job done for me. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. One other fan review. Hull KR girls under 13s versus Normanton girls under 13s. Scoot's got in touch because the teenage Joshua was refereeing this one. An excellent spectacle of a game. 2 committed teams going at each other. Normanton were only able to name 13 players, and after 10 minutes we're down to 12, but you wouldn't have known. Hull KR stretched the lead to 18-8, and it looked like one-way traffic until the Normanton fight back. Game finished 22-20 to Hull KR after scary scenes of an uninvolved player collapsing and the match stopping for over 10 minutes. Thankfully, she was eventually able to leave the pitch. I mean, I guess she means uninvolved in a collision when she collapsed, but eventually able to leave the pitch. Both teams elected to continue rather than having the match abandoned. The women's game is going to have a bright future if these girls continue. Hull KR's number 7 was outstanding, as was Normanton's number 15.
I assume the refereeing was impeccable. There's no comment on the referee's performance, but I'm going to assume it was excellent.
I heard there was cries of it was Liam Moore-esque. I don't think it was. I don't think it went down well in Hull, that performance. No, I'm joking.
I'm sure it was very competent, and I'm sure he dealt with the injury very well.
And apparently, he might have got some phone numbers. So we're going to leave other results there, and we're going to move into...
I think that's probably best.
We're going to move into the predictions as the playoffs start next week. So it's playoff week 1, Alan, and it starts in France. Friday 8 p.m. on Sky, or 9 p.m. on, I guess, beIN Sport or something if you're in France. Catalans versus Leeds. These two teams have played each other twice recently. Leeds winning a close one in Golden Point in one of the 2 games. Catalans coming out on top of the other game. It's a tough one to call.
Yes. In brief, yes, it is difficult to call. My theory for these games is I'm going to go with the team that has momentum, and therefore I'm going to pick Leeds by 2.
Okay. So I think that Catalans have been kind of knowing that they were in the playoffs for a while